Hello, hello. So hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for the launch of the Lovely Canva Crew. So this is a bit of a taster of the membership that I'm going to be launching, which will consist of fortnightly sort of 30 to 40 minute calls. It'll be £20 a month. So this is a sort of freebie. Everyone who wants to see what it's about can come to their first video call free. So if you think that this is of interest for someone, then please share, obviously, the Lovely Canva Crew group. And there's going to be some more sort of one-off workshops like Canva, Beginner's Guide to Canva, and I've got some ideas for doing some sort of specific design, so like doing a LinkedIn together, like LinkedIn header, designing that, maybe a logo design and stuff like that. So I've got some exciting plans, but it's all just like, come on, let's just get on with it. So hopefully that this will be of interest and useful. My background is design and branding. I've been doing it for donkey's years now. I may still look fresh-faced, so I'm told, but I've I graduated from uni back in 2004, so I've been doing design since before then, even while at uni. So yeah, and I got into Canva about 2-3 years ago. So I've been dabbling and just sort of seeing how useful it is, particularly for small businesses, and wanting to be able to make sure that people are using it to its best ability. Because yes, there's loads of great templates, but if you're using it in a way that's not very, if you're not very confident with it, you can make little mistakes, and really small adjustments can make a big difference. And that's why I wanted to introduce the sort of fast fix section to these video calls, so that you can see me in action. So yeah, so in terms of how this video call will work, I've got a portion of time at the end for sort of questions. I'm going to move on to some training in a minute, and I'm going to share my screen. I have the lovely Emma Matthews as my willing victim, and so I'll talk through sort of a couple of features that I think would be of interest. Trying to keep this relatively short and sweet, because we all have kind of limited attention spans. But hopefully we can kind of move everyone along in terms of their expertise and feeling confident with Canva. Yeah, so I'm going to get started. If you've got any questions, feel free to sort of put them in the chat, and I'll have a look at them at the question time section. And in the question time section, we can also do a sort of unmute, and if anyone's got any questions, you can have a shout out. Yes, and we'll get started. Right. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the sort of dashboard in Emma's thing. Can I have a thumbs up if you can all see that okay? Excellent, thank you. So if you have any questions during this bit that I'm doing, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can make a note and ask me at the end. It's up to you. Oh, my mouse is dying. Okay. So I wanted to talk about some effects that is a new feature that I've noticed has popped up. So I'm going to create a new design. So you can have, if you go into the home, there's lots of suggested sizes, and they give you the dimensions at the bottom. I'll start with just a square one. And I'm just going to plop in a picture because it's a photo site. So along the side, you've got various tabs. I'm not going to go through everything because this isn't a sort of, like getting started with Canva. So, but there will be some features that you'll see me getting on with. So there are some free images and not free, but paid for, that you can pay on subscription. And it's quite clear, it will say free. So I thought I would get some fruit and make that nice and big. Clearly fancy some fruit. So it's a nice colourful image. I'm going to hide that tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the image itself, and if you go into effects, which was at the top, they've got introduced some various added features, and they're in the free one, which is quite fun. And I was playing around with this duotone one and colour mix one for a post that I did recently. So I just wanted to show you. So you just, I've already been into Emma's account and was having a little play earlier. So it's something that I had to click on. These were all just like a list. So don't worry if yours doesn't look exactly like that in yours when you have a go. So yeah, we can click on colour mix, and then I click connect, and then it added it. So hopefully that's quite clear and you can see that. So there's all sorts of things that you can do. So duotone is sort of a couple of colours. So this is great if you want to sort of create a brand style for your photos. You might want to put them on all or most of them, but it's a really quick way of making it quite eye-catching and sort of specific. So for example, I noticed that in Emma's designs that a lot of blue and yellow is used. So for example, she might decide that she might want to use the mustard one, and that most photos have that feature on it. I mean, it might not be for all of them, but this is great if you're wanting to pop a bit of text on top. So if we were to add like a heading, and you could put a sort of, I don't know, testimonial. I'm just sort of making some bits up, and you want to make sure that it's there's nice bit of contrast. You can make it big, maybe not have the, let's go really, really big. We can make it caps. I want it all caps. So there's all sorts of things that you can fiddle around with, but what you want to make sure is that it's got enough contrast. So you might sort of look at that and go, oh, okay, that's not really working so great. Now, one thing with this particular feature, unlike the filters, which are over here, unfortunately, this effect is not kind of, you can't just sort of press another button and undo it. So if you click on it, you can override it with another one, so you could make it another colour. So that is easier to see because it's sort of darker behind. So yeah, so that's sort of something that I found quite fun. There's also like other ones that are there. So something that is a good sort of top tip is, if you're having a play around with the design, duplicate the page so that you can kind of try out different things and not worry about having to click undo. I mean, it is very easy to click undo, so it's not the end of the world. But for example, if we've got a spare one there in the original full colour, and if we click sort of maybe the sort of, we've got the colour mix, which you've got rainbow, arctic, amethyst, there's some really kind of mad ones there. Let's go for rainbow. So you can see that's created a sort of wash of colour over it, and you can have real fun with it. And it just gives you a different effect to the filters. So if I click on this original one again, so like the filters, you can put it back to the base, but effects you can't. So just be aware of that. So I could put a really heightened colour on that. I mean, that's mad. You wouldn't be able to read that very well. So if you wanted to go for that kind of crazy colour background, you could put a box in the back. You can make it a bit transparent, and you can put it behind the text. So always make sure that what you're doing, that the text is legible, because it's really easy to sort of go a bit mad. So I'll just show you with the filter, you can put it back to none. So you can have a real play with it and put it back, and it's not a problem. But with the effects, there is no way of being able to put it back to the original. So if you want to play with effects, duplicate the page. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the fast fix section. Really easy to say. So I thought I would do this one, which is one of the, I've already copied the document itself, and I will also duplicate the page so that we can sort of see the difference and talk through some different things here. So, so with this, one of the key things that I would say is that if you have too much wording in capitals, it can be quite hard to read. And also the two bits of text here are too similar in size. So you've got the quote itself, which is, it's amazing, and all of that, and then a bit of sort of all the other bits. There's no hierarchy. So if this is, I'm presuming this is maybe a post that you would put on social media, like on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. So Emma's nodding. So that means that if someone's scrolling through, they'd have to like look really closely to read that. It's making it much harder. There isn't any kind of one thing that is a high impact. So I've duplicated this, so let's sort of copy some of these items. So this bit of text, so we can do some stuff with it. So firstly, it would be, let's make it not in caps. And the other thing is that when you've got something in caps, you can have the spacing in between a bit more spread out. But when you have it upper and lowercase, it can look a bit weird. So we go into spacing tab, and you can space it in between. So I'll put this a little bit lower and make the text a bit bigger so you can sort of see. So can you see it's quite spread out, all the individual letters. So if we go into spacing and bring it back in, and then it just, again, it will help it to be more legible. You could also see about using a text which is, you could make it italic, for example, or you could pick a font which is a bit more like handwritten, to make it feel like it's more friendly and conversational. Just to be aware that Canva has limited the amount of free fonts. So if there's a little crown next to it, it's no longer free if you're in the free version of Canva. So just be aware of that. I'm not going to start looking for a lovely font that will work well as a sort of more script, because there just wouldn't be time for it. I could like lose days. I love my fonts. So we'll just do it, we'll just make it italic, we'll make it bold. So we want to make it really big, ideally. So, you know, in this sort of case, I would say bigger is better in a way, because you want it to be sort of easy to sort of see what's going on. We can always make it a little bit smaller, 41. Let's try that. I would have double quote marks as well. Let's make your logo bigger, because we want that to be legible. You want your website to be visible as well. No, I didn't want to copy that. I'm going to delete that image just for a minute because I've got it on the other page so I can see. I probably wouldn't. Let's copy that. No, stop copying that bit. Right, we'll click duplicate because it's being annoying. I don't think you need the brackets there. Let's center it up again. So hopefully that's like really clear that that's who said it. And then probably wouldn't say that bit of text there personally. I don't think you need it. I'll just probably put visit our website. Make the website. I don't think you need www. any really, in my opinion. And then I'm going to move the spacing in a bit again. Let's have that down the bottom. Size this up. 14. Make it a little bit bigger. And then we'll bring that image back in. We can send it to the back. So Emma, I'm going to unmute you. So you're unmuted now. So this image that's here, is that the respective limited person?
Yes, it is actually, yeah.
Okay. So it's sort of a snippet of that image. Okay, I think I'll make it a bit. I guess the thing is sort of trying to get a sense of what's the most important bit. It's if you want to have the image the most important thing, in which case you would have that smaller.
Yeah.
And you'd have the image the most, you know, the biggest bit. And then we have that on a sort of, you could put, like I did before, having some sort of block there.
Yeah.
Putting that behind. And you could play around with layering it as well if you wanted to. Again, it's about trying to make sure that it's visible.
Yeah.
You can make it that kind of blue. And Canva's quite good in that it gives you pink guides that pop up that can make it easier to sort of read or to line things up, sorry. So you can see they sort of pop up. So yeah, it's just about kind of lining things up. So this one, the image is kind of the focal point.
Yeah. It looks so much better already.
Thanks.
I'm going to repost it.
Yeah, you're welcome to use this as the point of like the fast fix. Whereas this one, you kind of need to make that sort of a bit smaller. Like, I don't know, like how you do it. Or actually, you just have it kind of in the background. So it fills the whole thing, I guess. I think, yeah, and maybe you could choose to use this thing here. Again, it's sort of looking at, well, what's the most important thing on the photo? You know, you're going to be having some of this text within your post. Just try and make sure that you haven't got anything that's too close to the edges. You want something, it's called white space or negative space. It's just basically, yes, we want things to be visible, but it doesn't necessarily have to like fit, like fill the page.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is what was before. So we went from that, I don't know why I'm saying it, that. Sorry. It's really not that bad. But you go from that, and then you got the option of having something like that, or if you wanted the blue, having that there. Again, just sort of making sure that you're trying to make sure that you got an equidistant border, really.
Yeah.
Good design often is it's just about lining things up. And just, but yeah, so have a sort of step back and go, okay, what's the most important thing? I would say in this case, sort of maybe something like that might be better, because you're able to see the you want it to be more about the client, really. So yeah,
that's,
I mean, it could do with a little bit of like tweaking and stuff, but it's a sort of starting point there. So there we go. So that's the end of the fast fix. So I'm going to open it up to question time. So I'm going to see if I can see the I don't know what. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see if there's any questions in the chat. Okay, so no questions in the chat. So does anyone have any questions? Just unmute yourself. We got about sort of 5 to 10 minutes just to sort of wrap up with a few questions. So anyone?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Julia.
Sorry, I've made the mistake of signing in from my phone, so it's really small, trying to watch everything you were doing. But I mean, loads of really good stuff. One thing I couldn't catch up with. How did you actually put that shadow box behind the words? So like the words.
Yeah, I'll do that again. What I'll do is I'll share my screen again.
Because I was kind of trying to go into like shapes and then pick the shape and then put, but I was finding I was losing my words behind them or underneath it.
Okay. So all you need to do is, so if we're on here, I'll duplicate it. So what I do is I take an element, so like a shape, so it could be a circle or square. I most often use a square.
Okay.
If you want, you can do it in two ways. So you could do it that you make it white. You make it transparent, so you can choose how transparent you want it.
And transparent is not in my...
So it would be, transparency is on, it's got a sort of almost like those sort of, I'm trying to think, the sort of checkered flags almost.
That's right, yeah.
It's top right when you kind of clicked on an object.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then what you can...
and then the... Sorry, go on.
And then you can just put the text in front. So so if you're having you've got the choice of making it lighter with sort of dark text on top. Yeah. Or you could have it that it's the other way. So we could have it a dark box. So you can see the difference there. So it's depending on what you're wanting to do. It depends on what's the image behind.
Okay. That's cool. I'll scribble down so I'll have a play after.
Well, you can always watch this particular recording back. It will be in the group.
That's true.
So that you'll be able to hopefully see the screen a bit better.
Yeah, I'll watch it on my big screen. Better idea. Okay.
Thank you, Julia. Anyone else got a question based on what I've talked about today?
Am I unmuted? I don't know.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So when you approach it intuitively now, because you've been doing this kind of thing for so long, but would you say, starting with you mentioned like a hierarchy of information, would you say that's a good starting point for someone like me? Because I normally look at it from a kind of visual, like overall visual perspective, and clearly that's not kind of working as such. So I never thought about it as a hierarchy. Is that what you start with? Like, what's the most important thing?
Okay, if you're creating whatever it is, but in particularly with sort of, well, I guess actually with anything, but for example, with a social media post, people are scrolling through, you want something that's eye-catching. What is the most important thing that you want people to look at when they're looking at it? Is the image the most important? Which, because you do something that is very visual, that is the case, that you would, maybe that's the style that you go for, that the image is the hero, and then the testimonial is a supporting factor. And then if that's the case, then really sort of try and pare back. So your logo's on there and maybe your website address is there, but the other bits aren't. Maybe you don't necessarily have the testimonial on there as well. Or maybe sometimes you do. You can have multiple types of templates for different reasons. If you're wanting to have something that's more text focused. But for example, if you've got a special offer, you've got to think about what's the most important message. Like if they were going to read one sentence or one word, what would you want them to be? Because people are kind of scrolling through. You want to go, what is it? So have that in mind if you're doing something like that, because you want them to, if nothing else, that they've seen that you've got a special offer or whatever the kind of the purpose behind that post is.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Just unmute yourself. Okay, Helen's got to go. Thank you. Bye. Hope you enjoyed it. Anyone else? We've got got about 6 minutes left on the ticker. So if anyone else wants to sort of jump in, if not, I will wind up the call.
Just a quickie from me, Mary Louise.
Yeah.
Having been a complete beginner with Canva, I'd just be interested to understand what everybody uses it for, really. I mean, I'd only used it for a banner for Facebook, I think. That's why I signed up, and then I hadn't realised that it did so much. So
there's loads there. There's absolutely anything that needs to be designed could be designed in Canva, as far as that I can see. And they've handily have got quite a few templates already sized up with that in mind. So just have a look through. There's also a searchable section. So
yeah, I do. So shall I thank you, by the way. I've got my friend here, I'm at her house, and she's a VA, doesn't use Canva. So she said, what's this thing you're doing? And I'm like, it's Canva. I watch. So
very quickly needs to get on board with Canva then.
Friday humour mode, so I thought I didn't want to be distracting, so I turned the video off while we were watching. So that was that was good for her, because she's really never used it before. So but yeah, Julie, to answer your question, I use it for everything, literally. So email headers, email footers, my signature strips, all my social media posts that you see, video intros and outros, the little things that you get before and after, all your LinkedIn, all your banners that go on all your social media, business cards, leaflets, newsletters, anything that you could do with anything to do with print. And the way that Marie Louise is my designer, so she was with me for 2.5 hours on Zoom last night, and we use Zoom like this, and she's designing it so I can see it completely and utterly in my Canva account, so that then I just send that file to printers. So it saves me. We do it literally live. It's a really powerful process. So yeah, if anybody's looking to use a designer that can literally just do it there on the spot, so you can send it to the printers, because I'm a bit lastminute.com, so Louise does all that for me. Probably be more organised than me. Probably not good at on a Thursday night, but so that I use it for literally everything. Even for creating cards, like I can send out greetings cards with a picture of me and my friends saying congratulations on your 40th birthday or whatever, and I'll just create that and print it out and on cardboard and send it. So even little kind of private things.
Yeah, you can do little fun personal stuff on there as well. I mean, it's great for business. There's all sorts. So the best thing to do is have a little look round at the examples of stuff that they do have, and just have a go, or keeping it in mind next time you need something, and use it as a starting point.
Okay,
Can I ask a quick?
Yeah,
Can I ask a quick question?
yeah.
You mentioned signature strip. Sorry, the lady who was just talking before. I didn't catch your name. And where would that be? Because I was trying to do something on my email, like, you know, to have. Is that what you mean, the signature?
Yeah, so you can just create a new document. You can work out what size you want it. You don't want it to be too big, because the file size will be bigger. You could do a search to see if there is an email signature template already there. If not, just you can, you know, just size it up and just put, you know, some snippets, because I know you do photography as well. You could snippets of your photos, your logo, that kind of thing. But don't put too much on your email signature, and make sure the file size is small.
Okay, and you do all that sizing and everything through Canva, because I've never actually.
Yeah, I would do. If they don't have a template, just do a custom sizing.
I think I use the. It seems to work quite well. I think I used the template in there that is for a Facebook header. I think is what I used. It just was quite fat in, like a Facebook header template. Is what I think I used for it, and it seems to work quite well.
And then just resized it down.
You'll download the file onto your desktop or laptop, and then you just add that into your email footer, in the templates of your email footer.
Yeah.
Okay, give it a go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen to me, I feel like I'm tech support. That's really not my role at all. Anybody that knows me, they're like, oh, actually, I don't know many of you in here. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Julie. Don't know the rest of you.
Hi, Julia.
Hi, Julia. Hi, Gabrielle. Hi, Emma. Hi, Heather. And Nicola. I don't know if she's listening. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've come to the end. It says Zoom is telling me I've got less than a minute. If you've got any further questions, feel free to comment. If you're watching this on replay, just comment in the Facebook group on this video, and I shall go through and kind of answer any questions as it go. And I'll be talking about other things that are coming up as and when I've created my graphics in Canva.
Thank you. Also, I was trying to add my friend to your Facebook group, and it wouldn't let me for some reason. I don't know why. So I don't know if you've got your security locked down. Can you send me the link to your Facebook group, and I'll send it to her, and then she can add herself. I don't know why it won't let me add her. So she obviously wants to know more about what you're doing. So
yeah, I have I have added questions because I want people to at least answer them, even if it's like a no or yes. And so I have locked it down a bit more.
Yes, I don't know why I couldn't do that, but yeah. So obviously I'm sure you want to join. Yes, thank you, darling. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I was a bit distracting when I arrived. I thought I had video off to start with, and then I realised, oh no, the video's on. Sorry, I was chatting away. Sorry about that, Marie-Louise. Distracting you.
I didn't notice. I was probably in.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Then. Thank you for joining us. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.